Macmillan Audio presents In My Remaining Years. Written and read for you by me, Jean Grae. Fritziti and Satima, Nigeli and Sylvia, Patsy and Adina, Littles, and Grace Jones. Introduction. When I began dating my second husband, in the summer of 2014, I was in a deep depression. My mother had died just a few months before. I had lost my really nice apartment and was living in a terrible garden-level apartment that had neither a garden nor was there anything level about it. There was, however, a family of raccoons, rats, or both, residing in my ceiling. It was the worst apartment I'd ever lived in, even though I was working the hardest I'd ever worked in my life. I was making whole albums within 24-hour spans all by myself and then trying to sell them on the internet, just to survive. I was determined to never go back on rap tours with any abusive people. Through tears and choked words, I had pled my case, given ultimatums, and they had not chosen my protection. So I was doing the only thing I could, making do with what I had left. But choosing my own physical and mental safety felt like a punishment. I'd been in this cycle for months, and all I wanted was to stop working for a millisecond, just a millisecond. An early, unfair, and annoying death seemed very inevitable, or whatever is more inevitable than inevitable. I considered doing it by my own hand, but I'd tried that when I was younger, and it just felt like I would be letting the unfair death win. So I kept going and waited for better circumstances to kick in. There was no way for me to maintain any semblance of a healthy lifestyle, so I drank to cope. I hardly slept and couldn't see an end to the incredibly destructive loop. I was so mad that my choices were burnout and poverty, endure physical and mental abuse, kill myself, or wait to die in a few years. I just wanted to have a regular life and not die from hustling independent albums on social media, killed by crafting comedic Christmas music. How embarrassing! I wished I could tell people how I felt. It was 2014, so speaking out wasn't going to get me anywhere, except for further isolation. Risking not being able to sell even the small amount of work I was selling was a no. Setting myself up to be constantly berated in public and asked to talk about only abuse, another no. I was barely, rarely, ever allowed to talk about being anything other than being female. Ooh, a female rapper. And never being able to discuss your craft, whatever it may be, that you love and take such painstaking measures to create, is such a slow killer. A waning degradation of will, motivation, and creativity. Not to mention, it really makes you hate what you once loved, including yourself. Also, a hard no to being publicly honest and speaking out about being poor. These days, on social media, I still watch so many independent artists struggle through poverty silently, doing their best to present their art and themselves in the best light possible. Most people don't notice. I know the signs. One night, during one of our many drunken late-night conversations in our burgeoning relationship, I expressed repeatedly that I didn't have much time left, that if I was lucky, I would die sometime in my early 40s, and that made me so sad, because my plan had never been to die young from capitalism and misogyny. I had so many people left to be, things to do. When I was little, I very intentionally and carefully planned out my future lives. I set dates, decades, ages, at which I would accomplish milestones and switch careers. Most of them involved some form of entertainment or a creative field. In my elementary school yearbook picture, when everyone had to pick a future career, I just chose entertainer. They had provided too small a box for me to list all the things I would become. And by
Sample complete. Ready to continue?